It turns out that the astronauts are about to encounter a bunch of aliens who have been on the moon for an eternity, much longer than anyone could imagine. But you know what? It recently came to light that, in 2011, they discovered that there was a secret mission, Apollo 18, sent by none other than the Department of Defense. Here's where it gets good. There are interviews with three guys, astronauts John Gray, Nathan Walker, and Ben Anderson. These three launched on a top-secret mission, so secret that they couldn't even tell their families. The deal was to carry a machine, the PSD-5, which seems to be for detecting missiles before anyone else, and of course, they wanted to put it on the moon before the Russians got ahead of them. But that's not all. They also had to collect moon rocks. This sounded strange to Nathan, because they already had about 800 pounds of those rocks on Earth from past missions. Then, we see the three of them getting on the rocket and taking off into space. Imagine the view of Earth from up there. Impressive. The plan was for John to stay orbiting, while Nathan and Ben went for a little walk on the moon. They have to spend 2 nights there to complete the mission. So there go Nathan and Ben landing on the moon while John sends them good vibes from space. After Nathan and Ben touch down on the lunar surface, they start taking pictures as if they were on vacation. But of course, they also have to work a little. They set up some cameras near their module, next to the United States flag. They're having a blast, but they know they have to get serious soon. Then they take out the famous PSD-5, and right at that moment, things get weird. The video and audio start to fail, and even the module's power goes crazy. Nathan calls Mission Control to tell them about the problem, while he and Ben go in their lunar vehicle to the place where they have to install the device. They set up another camera there and continue collecting rocks. They see that there seem to be a lot of stones. He says that one of them has a texture that is not normal. The craziest thing is that in the images from one of the cameras, you can see how one of the rocks moves by itself near a crater. The astronauts, clueless, and once again suffer interference in the video and audio. Now, Nathan begins to suspect that something strange is happening. They return to the module, store the rocks, and think about taking a nap, but nothing. There is no rest. They begin to hear very strange noises on the radio, like clicks and scratches. They ask Mission Control if it could be something from the PSD-5, and they say they are going to check with the Department of Defense. They try to sleep again, but while they are there, a camera inside the module captures how another moon rock moves by itself, with the first ray of sunlight sneaking onto the moon. Our astronauts wake up, ready for another day of space adventures. While they settle in, John throws them the warning that he is going to take a walk around the dark side of the moon, leaving no radio signal. At breakfast, Ben almost chokes when he sees that one of the moon rocks they had caught the day before, magically, had come out of its box and was lying on the floor of the module. The two, with a face of not understanding anything, since they were very sure they had saved everything to the letter, they begin to save the rock again very carefully. With the task of the day to start the gadget, the PSD-5, Nathan and Ben launch towards their destination. But in the middle of the moonwalk, they lose their connection with Mission Control. Nathan, thinking that it is a small problem in communications, does not give it much attention at first, but the silence begins to be suspiciously long. There, where they had to start the PSD-5, Ben encounters footprints on the moon that surely were not his. They try to tell this, but neither Mission Control nor John give any signs of life. It occurs to them to follow those footprints that go around, as if the one who left them was more lost than an octopus in a garage. Perhaps due to lack of air, following those mysterious marks, their jaws drop when they come across another lunar module. But surprise, this one was Russian. The thing gets even weirder. There they are, wondering how it is that nobody told them anything that there were Russian cosmonauts as neighbors. As they approach the Russian lunar module, Nathan and Ben already notice that something smells burnt. The flag is on the ground, and, taking a look inside, the module looks like a war zone. Everything is upside down. Nathan starts checking the survival equipment, and thankfully, they are working. But the picture gets uglier when they find blood-stained uniforms and first aid kits scattered everywhere. On the other hand, Ben, who is outside the module, follows the footprints to a crater that gives him the creeps and decides to take a look. He sees that the crater is full of rocks and that the ground is softer. Just when he thinks about turning around, he runs into the corpse of a Russian cosmonaut who is already half decomposed. He gets a death scare, but drags the body out to take a closer look. He sees that the helmet is broken and the suit has a large tear. And when he's checking it out, bam! The body moves. Ben almost dies of fright. Upon further investigation, he finds a rock embedded in the suit. With their nerves on edge and remembering that the oxygen doesn't last forever, they decide to return to their lunar module. Once there, Nathan contacts Mission Control and drops the bomb on them about the Russian mission to the moon. The answer they receive leaves them speechless. According to them, the Russians have not sent anyone to the moon since 1969. This turn of events leaves our astronauts swimming in a sea of doubt, with a lot of unanswered questions and a tickle of intrigue that does not leave them alone. Nathan is freaking out a bit. He doesn't buy that it's pure coincidence that they and the Russians have landed so close. He is convinced that there is something else, something they have not been told, and decides to speak with the bosses of the Defense Department. From Mission Control, they tell him that they are coming, that he should calm down, but both he and Ben begin to think that perhaps they have been deceived about the true reason for their trip to the moon. And in the middle of that space night, of those darknesses that are only seen up there, something strange happens, a noise, a loud bang, and the two wake up with a jump. Nathan sees his helmet rolling on the floor, looks out, but everything seems normal. While Ben discovers that the flag they had planted on the moon, poof, has disappeared, Ben has a sci-fi movie theory. He says that maybe a slightly crazy Russian cosmonaut was the one who killed the guy they found and took the flag. But John, who is already back from the other side of the moon, connects and throws Ben's theory overboard. He says that for that Russian would have had to have taken a 12-hour moonwalk, and come on, that's impossible without plenty of oxygen. The surprise comes when someone from the Defense Department finally contacts Nathan. They tell him that yes, they had suspicions about the Russians but nothing for sure, and that according to their data, there was only one cosmonaut on the Russian mission. So no crazy theories from Ben. With this info, the astronauts are even more confused. But there is no time. They have to start the return trip, and they are left with a lot of doubts in the air. Back on the moon, Nathan and Ben are about to take off in their lunar module when, BAM! A shrill noise bursts their eardrums. Over the radio, they hurry to get away from there. But at the last second, something hits and drags the camera outside, and the module shakes as if it were in a cocktail shaker. The module's gadgets go crazy, there is no communication, and the oxygen is going to waste. Nathan thinks a meteorite has given them a scare. He goes out to take a look and finds that his rover is upside down, but no meteorites. Then, Nathan releases on the radio that he has encountered signs of extraterrestrial life. Ben, all confused, asks him what the hell he means, and Nathan tells him about strange footprints on the moon and claw marks on the module. On top of that, the flag they had lost is there, torn to shreds. Nathan gets his act together to lift the rover and mess with the antenna, telling Ben to try to talk to Mission Control or John, but Ben can't talk to anyone. Suddenly, Nathan yells that something is moving. Ben can't see anything from where he is, but Nathan is sure there is something in his suit. He starts yelling and shaking like crazy. In the camera images, you can see something that looks like a giant spider on Nathan's helmet. Ben goes out to help him and finds him lying on the ground, losing air from the suit and gasping. With great difficulty, Ben drags Nathan back to the module and manages to normalize the pressure, saving his life at the last second. There were John and those at the control center, sweating blood to contact the two astronauts, Nathan and Ben, but nothing, like talking to the wall. When Nathan finally stabilizes, Ben, with his nerves on edge, asks him what the hell happened out there. Nathan, with a sullen face, says that he tripped, hit himself, and broke his helmet, but Ben doesn't quite buy it. He remembers that Nathan was yelling something about something, moving in his suit. Nathan pretends not to remember, but here comes the creepiest thing. Ben sees that Nathan is bleeding through the suit. Upon checking, they discover that he has a terrible wound in his stomach, and inside, something hard. Without thinking twice, Ben takes out the object with a medical instrument and, what do you think? It is a sample of moon rock. The two are stunned as Ben examines the rock. Nathan, who is already half crazy, smashes it with a hammer, and there goes his theory, that this machine, the PSD-5, is not for detecting missiles, but for calling strange creatures from space. Nathan thinks it's all a show, that they are the lab rats, and that the Department of Defense is spying on them, knowing that these creatures exist. With a mixture of courage and determination, they decide to get rid of the PSD-5 machine, facing whatever comes, without knowing what awaits them in this space adventure. In space, the tension is palpable when they arrive where the PSD-5 machine should be. The astronauts find that it is already shattered. But that's not the worst. What leaves them stunned are some alien footprints everywhere. Back at the Lunar module, while Nathan is taking off his suit, Ben realizes that Nathan's wound is scary, infected and worsening at full speed. Communication with Earth returns, but only halfway. They can listen to the control center, but no sending messages. From Earth, they tell them that they are on it to bring them back, but Nathan does not trust a hair. With the infection getting out of hand, he tells Ben that they cannot risk taking that to Earth, and that Ben will have to leave him behind. But Ben refuses. He doesn't even want to hear about it. Things get worse when Nathan starts to lose his mind. He records himself in videos of pure madness and even films Ben sleeping, making his hair stand on end. And, as if that were not enough, an alien creature that looks like a giant spider appears and enters the module. This makes Nathan even crazier. He destroys all the cameras, refusing to let the Department of Defense see him in his last moments. John, from Earth, tries everything to communicate with them, but time is running out, and they will soon lose contact. The oxygen in the module is about to run out, and Ben realizes that his only salvation is the oxygen and communications system of the Russian Lunar module. While they are heading there, Nathan, who is already delirious, keeps saying that the creatures are everywhere and asks Ben to leave him lying there, but Ben is made of sterner stuff. He does not abandon him. In a moment of heart attack, Nathan throws himself from the rover and Ben, in a desperate act, tries to save him. There is the rover, spinning like in an action movie, with everything in slow motion and super dramatic. Suddenly, boom! The rocks around them begin to change and, what do you think? They become aliens. Our protagonist hits himself, and when he comes to, he notices that his buddy Nathan has vanished. He starts looking for him like crazy, and finds him next to the crater where they had found that astronaut. Nathan, who is weirder than a green dog, tells Ben to leave him lying there, but Ben wouldn't even dream of it. At that, something super strange takes Nathan, and Ben, without further ado, goes after him with the flashlight in hand. Ben discovers something that chills his blood. The rocks in the crater are turning into aliens. Suddenly, Ben realizes that it is time to get the hell out of there. He arrives at the Russian space module, touches all the buttons to start it, and manages to speak with the space agency. He connects with the Secretary of Defense, who drops the bomb on him. They know everything that is happening on the moon, but they have decided not to rescue Ben because they fear that he is infected like Nathan. Ben, who is on the verge of a breakdown, tries to convince them that he is fine. But are they listening to him? The secretary tells Ben that they cannot risk rescuing him. Ben, who is desperate, tries to appeal to his human side, telling him about his family. But the secretary is in spy movie mode and tells him that they will tell his family that he died a hero. Ben, accepting the inevitable, decides to spend his last hours listening to his son's voice on a recording. But wait, there's a twist in the plot. John, who is a true colleague, contacts Ben and tells him that he is going to ignore the secretary's orders and bring him back home. He explains how to launch the lunar module to return. When Ben is about to take off, Nathan appears, who is in a terrible state and delirious, hitting the module window like crazy. Before he can make more of a mess, the alien creatures eat him alive. Ben takes off, but then John receives a direct order from the Secretary of Defense, forbidding him to rescue him with the warning that if he does, he will not be able to return to Earth either. John, who is a rebel, ignores the message, but things get even more complicated. Ben, already in orbit, realizes that the Russian module is full of those moon rocks that are actually aliens. They attack and infect him, causing him to lose control and crash into John's ship, killing both of them. The video ends, and official reports say the 3 astronauts died during training exercises, but there is a chilling detail at the end. It turns out that they have brought a lot of moon rocks from the Apollo missions to Earth, and many have been given away to politicians all over the world. The worst thing is that many of these rocks have been stolen, and nobody knows where they are now.